Because you always use that active when like defenders, I think, like. Because you always use that active when like defenders, I think, like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on. As the big man Ian Wright just said there, people deluded, I'm back again. As usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night, according to where you lot are in this world, people. As usual, please appreciate you lot, whether you're on Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube. If you're on YouTube, make sure you're smashing the like button. Twitch gang, make sure you're subscribing with Amazon Prime. And don't forget, around 4 p.m., 4:30, we'll be playing Football Manager. So yeah, man, it is what it is. Obviously, it's been a great day for me. It's been a great afternoon. I'm sure a lot of us Arsenal fans have been giving it to our Manchester United supporting friends. You know, they're breaking all sorts of statistics and records under Ten Hag. This is why they should trust the process. And they've now gone out of the Champions League, people, which is fantastic stuff. We're through. We don't know who we're going to draw on Monday's draw, but yeah, throughout the course of this video, we'll obviously see what Reiss Nelson's had to say. Mikel Arteta. We'll go over the latest news, views, and talking points. There's rumours of Partey returning from injury, potentially for Brighton and beyond. Me personally, I doubt that because it just seems like it's a social media frenzy. It doesn't seem like there's any proper source, really and truly. And forgive me, Partey and Arsenal fans, but even when it comes to Arsenal injury / especially Thomas Partey, I tend to take a pessimistic approach. We'll be lucky to see him, if anything, really and truly, in what's left of this year and probably even January, because he's going to go off to AFCON as well. Didn't expect, big up Graham, because you're always here. Didn't expect Partey to be available before AFCON. Would be nice to have Partey available for a long stretch of games. Be lovely to, in an ideal world, Partey, Timber, and obviously I'm missing somebody else out. There's definitely someone else. Oh yeah, Tomiyasu, to have them all available would be amazing. So without wasting any more time, let's get into what the latest rumors are. As I said, there's several things going on social media. Apparently, Thomas Partey is back fit now. Again, I don't trust anyone. I definitely don't trust any credible sources. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. But allegedly, you know, this is kind of the same writing. You see Thomas Partey is stepping up his personal training at Coley this week, London Coley, which is obviously Arsenal's training base, and is close to being available in the weekend squad versus Brighton. I very much doubt that, but we'd all love that. And if Partey has to risk himself for one game, just make sure you're available on the 23rd of December against Liverpool. For me, there are rumours saying Arsenal are pushing to sign Brentford striker Ivan Toney on loan in January. Now, let me know your thoughts, and don't forget to smash the like button. I wouldn't say Toney be my first choice, but I wouldn't be against it definitely in January. He's a proven goal scorer. I think the way he kind of plays, his abilities to drop deep, link up play, work the channels, I think he'd be a good striker. Obviously, he's Premier League proven. But we can't get him on loan, can we? Now, it doesn't make sense, in my opinion. We know we're treading lightly with FFP. I don't know how the loan rule works, but obviously, we've got David Raya from the same club technically on loan. I don't know if there's some creative accounting that we will make David Raya, for example, his move in January permanent, so that obviously we could sign a player on loan. And, you know, if you're Brentford, unless you're bringing in probably two strikers now, because Mbeumo is injured and he looked like he's going AFCON, Reiss is effing off. And obviously, if you was to lose Ivan Toney, it does not make any sense, really, to let him go on loan because you need him immediately. If we could get Ivan Toney, I'm not against it, people. But for what it's worth, Arsenal are pushing to sign Brentford striker Ivan Toney on loan in January. Understand that Arsenal are pushing for Toney on loan in January. Chelsea are also eyeing him. Let's see what happens. I don't think it makes any real sense, really and truly, unless it's a permanent one. Unless David Raya is made permanent, and then there's a bit of creative accounting for Ivan Toney on loan with a potential buy clause and things like that, then I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Reiss is not leaving Brentford, but he's going off to AFCON, innit? You know, and Mbeumo's injured, but he would have went off to AFCON. And Mbeumo would have went. Reiss is going. And if you lose Ivan Toney, who the hell have Brentford got, really and truly? Because you got to remember, Brentford are probably looking at an attacker or a striker between summer to replace Ivan Toney or to help them in January. Naturally, if let's take our Arsenal caps off and let's just assume we're Brentford, like we're Thomas Frank, or I'm Thomas Frank. You lot are, you lot obviously are a club that has a striker that I wish to sign. Obviously, you know, injuries, players leaving, immediately my negotiating hand is weakened, really, because you're going to say, boy, I know you need to pay, you need a forward. So it does not really make sense. For me, obviously, anything can happen. I'm sure Ivan Toney would eye a move and things like that, and money does talk. But I think it will take a lot more than some sort of loan offer to tempt Ivan Toney's club Brentford into letting him go, in my honest opinion, in January. Speaking of strikers, allegedly, Arsenal submit significant bid for striker Fabrizio Romano claims will leave. Marcos Leonardo rumours won't go away. Santos are relegated. His agent has said in the winter market they're looking to move on. Obviously, in terms of his age and his profile and actually his position he plays, it makes sense for Arsenal to be linked with him. A whole bunch of clubs are linked with him, people. Romano has declared a Brazilian striker will leave his current club in 2024, and reports claims Arsenal have funded in with an enticing offer. Apparently, Romano has said himself, Marcus Leonardo will leave Santos in 2024 for sure. There's no doubt. And it's not even about the club's recent relegation. They already decided that months ago. There are many links. Every week, Leonardo is linked to 5 or 6 clubs, but it's still at the early stages with agents meeting clubs. There's nothing concrete or close with Arsenal so far, despite speculation. Despite his young age, he's made 168 appearances for Santos, people, which does show he's got a lot of transferable experience, whether he signs for Arsenal or elsewhere. Apparently, it's claimed that Arsenal have accelerated their interest and have submitted an offer of 20 million euros, which equates to about 17.2 million pounds plus bonuses. The alleged offer has positioned Arsenal as front runners to secure an agreement, and if accepted, Leonardo could be an Arsenal player as early as January the 1st. I don't doubt that we're scouting him. I don't doubt that we're looking at a forward. But surely, if we've got limited resources, we need to probably, and assuming if you get all of the positions, why not? But surely, people, centre mid, defence, these are where the priorities have to come from before you talk about Leonardo, who is probably a medium to long-term kind of signing. Obviously, you hope he hits it off all the way, or this talk of Ivan Toney on loan. I'm good with Toney. He isn't hyped like others, but he's a striker who can do it for me. There's obviously other choices, but the way people talk on Toney is funny. If he was playing in another league, guaranteed people would be like, sign him up. Amen. I mean, it wouldn't be my first choice. I'd rather a Sesko or something. But as I said, he's Premier League proven. I think he fits the system. With the greatest of respect to Brentford, I think in a team that's more attacking, naturally, he's going to get more goals. And he's Premier League proven. I mean, like I said, he wouldn't be my first target, but I definitely wouldn't turn up my nose at Ivan Toney if we were to get this done. I'm not for throwing youth in the team, but it's mad how Arteta hasn't integrated one from the academy. But to be fair, we got enough young players in the team beforehand for him to focus on. I hear it. I don't think Mikel Arteta is on the Hayland thing like Arsene Wenger, and that he's going to give everyone's going to get debuts. To be fair, Ethan last season didn't really much play for us, but he played in the Premier League and broke some records. Sego Jr. recently made his debut. There's been a bunch of players on the bench and stuff like that. And naturally, we're Hayland, you want to see our players develop and you want to see them get opportunities. I wanted to see at least Waters play yesterday, and I definitely feel you would have loved to have seen them get an opportunity. But I just feel if he didn't do it when we was winning 4-0 at PSV, he's not going to do it where the game was a low-key affair against PSV, but it could have went either way, really. They hit their pulse a couple of times and stuff like that. It would have been nice, really. I more so think as well, Arteta is on, I don't like the word elite because I wouldn't necessarily describe, the players that have come through our academy, excluding Saka, as elite talents. But it looks like he's not really, unless, Ethan and Miles, I think you get your chances. But I think he's on this, if you're of a certain level, he'll work with you, And to be fair, there was a lot of foundations. Obviously, he didn't buy Saliba, but him and everyone connected with Arsenal, they coordinated it. You go on a couple loans. There was a lot of said that he's falling out with Saliba. Saliba's going to leave. He's coming now. And whatever we've done beforehand, even though I and a lot of you believe, even, when Arteta first walked in, the club wasn't nice. Everything was a mess. When you're playing Socrates, Mustafi, I think everyone would have probably preferred, whether he's going to have a good game or not, Saliba might as well get the minutes. But everything he did was backed up. Smith Rowe came in and had a real standout season. He didn't bust him and give him his debut, but he enhanced that. Saka is going from strength to strength under Mikel Arteta. Martinelli has played a lot more in the league than he did under Unai Emery, really and truly, and he's got better and better. So I think he's more on that thing. And to be fair with you, out of all the Hayland talents, he seems like he's got a soft spot for Eddie Nketiah. And I don't think Eddie Nketiah is good enough. I don't think he's developed to the standard we need him, especially if we're going to go to where we want to. But I do like him. But that's probably the one he's bet on, really and truly. But I do think fans want it all the way. They want us to be competitive, win games, all these young players to get opportunities, and you can't please everyone. But I would like Mikel Arteta to, just give 1-2 games to a couple, man. Like, I really did. Again, I didn't think young players would come off the bench yesterday because they didn't come on off the bench at the Emirates where we're winning 4-0. Mikel Arteta has high standards, not saying these young players can't, live up to such. Apparently, Roma previously saw 3 bids for Leonardo knocked back over the summer, the largest total 20 million euros. So for all the talk of Arsenal bidding and stuff, it seems like Roma have been the most aggressive. So are they the closest to signing him? His agent already said, already in the previous transfer market, he had the possibility of being sold, but Santos' sporting situation was very particular. He agreed to stay because he wanted to help out until the end of the championship. He didn't want to leave because it wasn't the right thing to do, but the time has come to move. He wants to have a European experience, and his time will come this winter. So we'll have to see what's going on there. 4 clubs allegedly are eyeing Reiss Nelson, people. Brighton, Aston Villa, Fulham, and West Ham are all chasing the now 24-year-old people who actually hasn't started in the Premier League since 2019-20. Now, we all know Reiss Nelson is on the peripheral things, and at some point he's going to need to ask himself, I need to probably go somewhere I can start 5-10 games. But I do think Nelson deserves a lot more minutes, especially based on how he played yesterday. I don't think, I think Martinelli's dropped off a bit. Not saying I would drop Martinelli because I wouldn't. I don't think Trossard's covered himself with glory with any of his recent appearances. Obviously, Saka is Saka. You're not playing ahead of him. But I do think Reiss Nelson can be a decent rotation option and body in the squad, really and truly. And I do think he deserves a bit more minutes. It would be nice to see Mikel Arteta trust him a bit. For me, it feels like Reiss Nelson is the guy that plays, the cup games, the dead rubber games, which PSV kind of was, or as you saw against Bournemouth, when football's just been crazy and all our plans are out the window. Reiss Nelson is a thing. You come off the bench, let's just see if you can work some magic. But, he signed a new deal. He is still only 24. Clearly, Mikel Arteta likes him and he's happy at Arsenal. So I don't know. But at some point, him and Eddie Nketiah, are going to have to consider what they're doing, especially if we sign a striker and a winger. You can never have too many players. You can never bet on injuries. But if we were to sign a striker and a wide man, Jesus' versatility means he's probably bad news for one of them because he can play in a couple of roles. You've still got Trossard, Martinelli, etc., etc. So, yeah, man, it's an interesting one. Pardon me, a hard central defender, no tippy-toe one. Serious DG, we need a defender. I'm doing well, and I hope you are. I mean, listen, I want a fullback. I would like someone, I keep saying it, but if we could get a Timber or a Tomiyasu again, someone that can cover the back 4 positions, I'm all for that. But I feel another fullback and a centre-half wouldn't go amiss. I think I speak for everyone when we say we need to address central midfield in January and make sure that we have in the summer good targets so that we don't talk about that again. And as I just said, a striker and a winger would be lit, man. We got Kirio, Tomiyasu, and Timber. It's true, but we're quite weak defensively. God forbid if anything happens to Saliba or Benjamin White, we're in issues. I think on the face of it, when everybody's fit, yeah, we have depth, but when is everybody going to be fit? Especially if we're going to be this team that's going to, try and aspire to compete and get to the latter stages of four competitions. Reiss is so good, just needs to stay free, injury-free, then he's an absolute beast. Needs to stay free, man. I mean, he's a squad player. As I said, I would like to see get more game time. I wouldn't be mad at Nelson starting left wing next game. I'm not going to lie, against Brighton, for me, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus. If anybody had to come in, obviously Saka has to start. For me, Jesus has to start. Martinelli has to start. But if anything there, I would say Reiss Nelson, if I'm honest with you. And I'm happy Smith Rowe's fit because while he can play as a 10 and an 8, obviously he made his name for Arsenal playing off that left-hand channel. I think we need another central defender. Can't lie, Saliba goals were pissed, and putting Reiss at centre-back is a crime. I wouldn't say putting Reiss at centre-back's a crime because as much as we want Reiss to become this 8, and obviously he's a household name prior to stepping through the door at Arsenal as a number 6, I did kind of think we might do a John Stones thing with him, and we could. Where I agree with you is the knock-on effect because there's injuries and we haven't sorted out midfield. Obviously, Kai Havertz is doing all right now, but needs to maintain it. Obviously, Jorginho and El Nene hardly covered themselves in glory yesterday. And there's question marks in general as well. Obviously, Partey's never fit, so that's a myth. It's the knock-on effect. Without Reiss, I don't think we attack to the same sort of standard because obviously he nicks the ball high up the field. He allows us to probably gamble a bit. He allows Gabriel and Saliba to probably, even though we play the high line anyways, to probably play a slightly even higher line. So I think it's more of the knock-on effects. And with the options we've got, it's kind of getting to the way that we can only play one way. We're not, if Reiss, if obviously, if Partey isn't there, if Rice plays centre-back, then we can only do the Wenger ball, pretty football stuff. We can't really be rugged, you know. Fabio Vieira's injured, but he's not that kind of player. Smith Rowe isn't that. Kai Havertz, fair enough. He's quite tall. He puts himself about physically, but you get where I'm going. I just think I don't think our squad depth in the midfield is enough, really. I mean, for the consistent amount of games, because we haven't sorted midfield, that's why if Partey stayed fit, then we cook and gamble it. I'm with you with that. That's where I agree. But yeah, man, I think let's just skip and say next summer or going into next season, I want us to have stronger defensive options, stronger midfield options, and it will be lovely to have another striker and a winger. But yeah, Reiss Nelson is drawing interest from a bunch of clubs. We have been linked with Club Bruges teenage defender, not just us. Napoli, Spurs, and Liverpool, according to reports out of Belgium, are all looking at several players, people Buchanan, Olsen, and Noosa, as well as my man, really. So it makes sense. I don't think that means there's an impending move, but we need a defensive body. We were once linked with Mario Hermoso, people. He obviously left his previous club and went to Atletico Madrid. His contract is actually running down, so I wonder if there'll be Arsenal rumours again. For what it's worth, it's true that the decision will be made when the time comes. Atletico means a lot to me. It's been a long time of learning alongside Simeone, Colio, I think his nickname is. I'm a better player. I take that into account, but the decision is not made. So on a free, would we be against that? I like Real Betis's 18-year-old Hassan Diallo, people. Diallo, apologies for mispronunciations. Man United and Liverpool are looking at him. I mean, you want to touch Man United as a winger at this point or as a player? You know, I was getting on to my friend in my group chat on WhatsApp, and I said, honest question, what players have improved at Manchester United under Ten Hag? What players have improved from however they were held in regards in the footballing world to when they've signed for United in recent years? Casemiro's gone backwards. Varane's gone backwards. You're not getting 50 million on Wan-Bissaka like Palace did, and his name ain't really holding high regards like that. Maguire's come back into form, but his stock's taking it. Obviously, they zanged themselves buying him. Onana, from being part of a team that got to a Champions League final, for all his faults, the people in front of him are horrible. He ain't got better. Anthony ain't got better. Sancho, therefore, ain't got better. So yeah, does it make sense for a young player to go sign for them? He's decent, man. I like this Batiste youngster. Obviously, I don't think he's ready to pull up any trees, but I think he could be an emerging talent. And I think everybody would like to sign Johan Bakayoko based on what he did to Kirill yesterday, innit, people? He's been capped, I believe, 9 times. Yeah, I'm right. 9 times by Belgium. Obviously, we saw yesterday what he could do. Could be a decent option, still very raw, but I wouldn't be against him. In 28 appearances so far this season, he's got 4 goals and 13 assists. He is still quite inexperienced. He's only made 41 Eredivisie appearances, 8 goals and 13 to match. And for PSV in total, he's got 11 goals and 18 assists in 63 appearances. So I think there's a good foundation. Toney is just Eddie with 3 more years of experience and confident to go out and do his thing. Nah, gee. Big up Eddie and Nketiah, but like... And there has obviously been games where Eddie Nketiah, even when he's got his run, where I felt he hasn't necessarily got a goal or an assist, but I would like him to get one because it's a good reward. But, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because if you do what Gabriel Jesus does, but you don't get the goals, then obviously we speak about that. If you get goals but don't really offer much in terms of general play, people speak about that. But Ivan Toney's way more likely to affect a game without scoring. I think Ivan Toney's got more gears to his game than Eddie Nketiah. And I do think, I'm not even trying to make this an Eddie Nketiah, hate brigade. But when you look at all of our players in the final third, Eddie Nketiah is the one that, for Trossard, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Saka, even Nelson, Jesus, they can do 2-touch, 1-touch, 3-touch max. Eddie's going to need about 5. So I think that's a bit harsh, really and truly. I can't wait to see Partey back due to his injuries. I forgot how pivotal he is when he plays. I think we'd all welcome Partey back, but availability is the best ability you can have in it. So I'm Partey for me is in that territory where you're a fantastic footballer, but we've seen this story before. I know about him from watching PSV last season. Think he's got the physical build and pace. Only thing is Eredivisie tax is heavy. Got 13 goals, 13 assists and 4 goals so far, though. Reminds me of Doku, not ready yet, still raw. But it might be getting one of them. And to be fair, that could be all right for us, because we could deal with having a little raw guy in the squad that come off the bench and stretch teams, or, play when Saka's not there, be a bit on the peripheral things. I wouldn't be against it. The issue is PSV know they're going to sell my man for big money. And I'm actually not sure. I mean, I assume Belgium have qualified for the Euros, but If you're him, would you want to move in January where you're settled at PSV, you're probably going to go to the Euros, keep doing what you're doing, and maybe a move will come? I love Smith Rowe, but he's headed into that territory. I mean, I'm going to be Smith Rowe FC to the death. Smash the like button if you haven't, but you've got to stay fit or you are heading into that territory. Eddie Nketiah has spoken, people, in the aftermath of our draw against PSV. He said, whatever you say, man, you know, the man's living the dream. Full number 14 shirt, playing for Arsenal. I think everybody young and old here dreamed of being a professional footballer, let alone scoring in the Champions League. I do think Eddie Nketiah, unless there's significant improvements, you're probably going to need to be moved out the door soon. But I do think people are a bit harsh on him, scapegoat him. And you can say he's underwhelming. You can say he's a bit mediocre, but he's not crap. He said, my dream is to win both. The Champions League is a great competition to be in. We've worked so hard to get there. So we are going to keep pushing every day to deliver and hopefully achieve our dreams. I think it's a bit premature to talk about us winning champs. For all the Arsenal fans saying they only fear Bayern Munich, City and Madrid, I think we need to really calm down. But I guess when you play how we played in the Champions League generally, that's where that comes from. Pardon me. There's no point being in a competition if you don't dream to win it. Amen. We have the quality to do so, and we're pushing every day to win every tournament that we enter and play. And listen, take time, win the games. We'll see where we're at. That's our aim, and that's the aim of Arsenal Football Club. That's what the fans want, and we're working every day to try and achieve that. Somebody asked if football managers being played. We are. It's my first start in the competition. Rob, you know what? Shows how good we've done. I didn't think that was Eddie Nketiah's first start last night, but nonetheless, it's my first start in this competition, and it's nice to get a goal. Every kid dreams of scoring in the Champions League. It was a nice finish, and it was good to get some minutes in the tank. Fair enough. The gaffer has spoken as well. He said on his thoughts on the game, top match. We made 8 changes. There are moments where there were moments we lacked that cohesion and timing, especially in the way we pressed. Careful, because when I say it, people say I'm being too critical against a really good side. When you don't get the timings right, you have to defend awkward spaces. And we had to do that a few times tonight, which could have cost us the game. Facts. But the reality is we had some good moments as well. I'm really happy with the attitude and behavior of every single player, how they tried. And in the end, we could have won it with the chance of Leao and that goal that was disallowed. Trossard needs to sort his things out. I'm 23 and still dream of being a pro baller. All right, let me be your agent if you get scouted, my guy. We all need to get out the hood. On younger players not featuring, which some fans were very critical on, I didn't think it was the right context. Making 8 changes already to throw them in there against a team that hasn't lost here almost in 2 years, I didn't think it was the right moment. When is the right moment, Gaffer? But I don't necessarily think you're wrong. When is the right time to play young players? Because when Saka and Smith Rowe and them kind of man came in, was that necessarily the right time for the club? In hindsight, yes, because we were crap, but I'm sure it was a lot toxic. When Rashford came in when Van Gaal used Rashford, there was enough injury. So I don't think there's ever going to be an ideal time. If there was an ideal time, as I said, I personally believe it was at home in this reverse type. But yeah, I would have loved to see them play. It would have been nice, but I understand why they didn't come on. And I went on to wait to see how the game developed, but it was too much for them as well. We have 3 little issues. We had to make subs. Then we had no room because we wanted to play a game as well. On how PSV have developed since our previous game, very good, because they win every single game. So I only have thoughts of pride for the way they played, the coach, and let's see what they keep on doing. On Monday, we have the draw. We finished first and they finished second. Let's move on. On Declan Rice playing centre-back, as we know, we're very short of options there. We are very short at the back. I really wanted to try when something happens, how we're going to resolve that situation. And I think it was really good. And then he said, how long do we have? I think overall, very, very positives. After 6 or 7 years without being in the competition with a team that doesn't have a lot of experience there, big up Ramsdale for making his debut. I think we competed very, very well. I really like the approach of the team in every single game, the way we tried to play and dominate the opponents. We have some big results and big experiences as well, like what we had in Sevilla or in Lens, and even today. When we make that many changes as well, how the team can act or how fair is it for certain players to give that exposure. Overall, finishing first with a game to play, we have to be really happy, close that chapter, leave it until February, and make sure in February when the chapter opens up against, we are in the best possible place to compete against the top side. It was a bit of a difficult first half, weren't it? And obviously, Mikel Arteta gave credit to them. He then was asked about Jesus and Smith Rowe coming on. Emil, we wanted him to play a little bit earlier. We were waiting because we had 2 players with niggles. I was asking them, can they continue? I was hesitant to make changes too early. Then we have 6 or 7 minutes with 10 men. Then he said, great, they've been around at the game. and they are used to it now, whatever that means. And then he said, well, we will have bigger squads. I don't know, because we will have even more competitive matches. I don't know. It's something new. We have to experience it. We want to be in the competition and have the right to be in the competition again. So that's a long way away. Then he said, on our dream of winning it, what I've seen is that we can compete at this level. We came top of the group, which is very important, especially the way we did it with a game in hand. We have to win game by game, and we arrive again in February. On Mohamed El Nene's hamstring injury, obviously he hasn't played for a while. It was to be expected that was going to happen. Yeah, we don't know the extent, but he's done something. On Declan Rice at centre-back, well, he's played there before, and we have to try in case of emergency. I'll have to make sure that we can fill the gaps in the right way. The only issue with Declan Rice playing there is the midfield is unidentifiable, essentially. Big up yourself, Josh. To be fair, if a team full of youngsters, it's only because the experienced players ain't it. I think we could integrate Patino as a left-sided centre mid, but that's a stretch only, as Arteta won't play you unless he trusts you. What I would say is I think Waters could have played. And as much as I understand, obviously we don't rate Cedric, but at the end of the day, he's a Portuguese international. He's several years experience. I can understand why he's playing. But if Cedric's going to play, who's more likely to learn from this? Because, even if Cedric was behaved like Cafu yesterday, I don't think he's going to change anyone's opinions. Even if Waters had a terrible game and we lost, obviously there'd be issues, or we drew. At least he gets to see what this level is all about, and whether he's going to make it at Arsenal, be sold on for a profit. It makes more sense to probably blood him. Other than that, I did think the rest of the travelling youngsters, big them all up. I did think maybe Waters and Ethan will get game time. I thought Waters had a good chance to play some minutes, but we all know that the majority of them were just travelling to fill up spaces. I don't watch Feyenoord religiously, but I do like the look of Jimenez. Cedric's wages are mad. Mohamed El Nene should just join the coaching staff. If we're honest, El Nene, I like you. I don't really like to criticize you, but we're not here to make friends. Probably need to move on. Reiss Nelson was asked about his future, and he said, I have a good relationship with the coach. I helped them a few years ago. Obviously, this is back in his time in Holland, and that was a great time. I was able to develop really well. I mean, Nelson's used to playing in Holland. I've completely forgot about that. He then said, I've signed a new contract with Arsenal. This is where my heart is at the moment. And as you know, apparently he signed until 2027 with the option of a further year. He has 1 goal and 3 assists from 14 games this season. But to be fair to him, how many of those are significant minutes? He said he played with a smile on his face, which in an ideal world you want for all of the players at the club, people. I think my performance was good. I played with a smile on my face. That was the main thing for me. I think I could show my quality in a lot of different ways. I think you look good on the ball. You pressed with intensity. You won the ball. You drove forward. Nelson's the one that I was like, you know what? If any of the fringe players were going to get into Mikel Arteta's thinking, it's just you. Jorginho, I was quite disappointed. El Nene, I kind of give him a bit of luxury that you ain't played for a long time, but you was crap. Cedric, crap. Yeah, he was involved in the goal, but for every good pass, there's 10 terrible ones. Kirill had a tough time. He was just getting savaged. Bakayoko running rings around him. Sergio Dest nutmegging him. Phil Havertz did okay. Eddie obviously scored. We know what Eddie's about. I think the centre halves, Saliba and Gabriel, had to do a bit too much. I think not Raya, so used to it. I think Ramsdale's a bit unfortunate. He never got a clean sheet. I don't think he put a foot wrong. I think Trossard's a fantastic footballer, but let's be real. Trossard's been stinky in his last appearances. Whether he started or been off the bench, it's been crap. And yesterday Trossard was rubbish, absolute rubbish. I got high expectations. I rate him a lot, but he was absolutely dog shit. Anyways, and I don't agree with fans. I guess he's getting some abuse. He's limited his comments like it's sneaky, but nonetheless, he said, I got a lot of joy in midfield coming inside and linking up with Eddie. So it was really good. And as a whole, 3 o'clock, my alarm went off. And as a whole, as a team, I think it was hard at certain times because we haven't played with each other for a long time. A lot of the boys hadn't played for a long time as well. Cedric, Mo, people like this, but we did well and it's good to get a point. It's been a long time since I played from the start, especially in the Champions League. It's a beautiful, beautiful occasion, and I haven't played in a long time. So for me, if I can just keep staying injury-free, that's one of my main things I said at the start of the season. If I can stay injury-free, being free of my movement when I play, I have a smile on my face, I'm sure I can do a great job. I mean, if you and Smith Rowe can stay free, you can probably get more prominent roles of some degree within the team, people. And yeah, big him up for his assist. On the link-up play of Nketiah, he said, well, that's my guy. He's on me to try and assist him a lot. So I always have it in the back of my mind. If I can get in an area where I know he can turn and get the shot off, I'll play him. And he's done the business today. I think we can go very far. The fans should be excited and everyone should be excited to watch us play in the next round. Let's just take time, innit? Like, I understand the excitement and things like that, but let's chill out. I think we've seen this already with Arteta talking about that. We can start cutting some of these just to make, tab police are on me all the time. Arsenal allegedly have made an offer of £17.2 million plus add-ons for Santos and Brazil under 24 Marcos Leonardo, whatever that means. Chelsea have joined the race to sign Goalkeeper from Sporting Lisbon. They join Inter Milan, Arsenal, Fulham, and Newcastle in looking at the 25-year-old Swedish and Sporting Lisbon forward who previously played for Coventry. According to reports in Portugal, we are eyeing a colossal double swoop for Sporting duo Diamande and Goalkeeper. I mean, just bring Diamande. I like you, Goalkeeper, but maybe I'm being a bit snooty, but let's aim a bit higher. Apparently, we earned just under £1 million, people, for our draw with PSV. Wait. You can see why the Champions League, is vital. Apparently, Eddie Nketiah and Reiss Nelson are the first English pair to combine for an Arsenal goal in the Champions League for 9 years. Big up Haaland, people. I think Reiss Nelson deserves a lot of propaganda. He had a great game. He had 69 touches, 12 duels won, which was the most. He won possession 8 times. He completed 5 take-ons, 4 tackles, 3 touches in the up box, 2 chances, and obviously 1 assist. And in relation to specifically that game, I did a tactical analysis video. It's finally out. I was editing that all morning for you lot, and then I was getting hit with copyright strikes on YouTube. So I'd appreciate if you hit the like button on this and that. It is absolute madness. You lot don't see what I go through to get you lot the content. Arteta said we have to continue with the same attitude and behavior, the same levels we have shown up until now in the Champions League or better. It's never a free hit in football, and that's probably why the young G's weren't playing. On the youngsters, Eddie Nketiah said they're all talented players on their own way. They all deserve to be here for the hard work they put in. Disappointed they couldn't get some action today, but there'll be plenty of opportunities for them if they keep working hard. And that's one thing he can actually speak on. Once again, Arteta said making 8 changes already to throw them in against a team that hasn't lost at home in 2 years. I didn't think it was the right moment, which is never going to be the right moment. It would have been a fantastic test for them. Who can Arsenal face in the Champions League, folks? On Monday, only God knows. But ahead of Monday's draw, Football.London has taken a look at potential opponents Arsenal could face in the last 16. What does this mean? We know Bayern Munich have topped the group. So I think from this group, we could play Copenhagen, which is not to be taken lightly. Group C, we could get Braga. Group D, if we mess around, we might get finalists from last year Inter Milan. We could also potentially get Lazio and Atletico Madrid from Group E. From Group F, there's Dortmund, PSG, or AC Milan. I think we all hope PSG actually go out and go into the Europa League. We could get Leipzig. We could get Barcelona, Porto, or Shakhtar the next. Barcelona already qualified for what it's worth. Out of all of them teams, everybody's difficult. And I'm going to be a bit snooty, but and again, these are very tricky ties. And we've seen it with Olympiacos, with Sporting. Arsenal and Europe were a bit fugazi, so we can't sleep on anyone. We've got to have the mentality that these are the Real Madrid sides that were winning consecutive Champions Leagues. But if you ask me, I want Inter Milan now. I'm capping. Give me the Copenhagens, the Bragas, the Lazios, Leipzig. I fancy us against AC Milan and Dortmund, across 2 legs. I fancy Shakhtar the next. Porto's difficult. I fancy them. Do you know what? In my 28 years, this is the shittest I've seen Barcelona. I reckon we could. United did them a few years ago, if not last year. I reckon we could do them across 2 legs. Obviously, I don't know for the UEFA loaner and stuff, shades of 06, but I think we could do them, really. But I think we need to take time, people. What's this? PSV head coach Peter Bosz has been gassing up Kai Havertz. I didn't plan on speaking about this, but let's read the propaganda. You don't need to be a scientist in football to see that this was a big, big talent. Absolutely. The only thing, he is a really modest guy. That can he succeed in a different country at a top club? But he did. At Chelsea, he scored that really important goal in the Champions League final. Now he's a starting member at Arsenal. He's an outstanding, outstanding player. Fair enough. He also believes an attacking midfield position is where Kai Havertz will thrive. When I got to Leverkusen, he plays as a right winger, but I saw him as an offensive player. So I put him in a system more or less with 1 holding midfielder and 2 offensive midfield players. Brandt was the other one, and he played outstanding there. In the end, I put him as a number 9. Rudy Voller didn't agree with me, but I think he can play there also. That's what he did at Chelsea. He's done it on occasion at Arsenal. He's done that at Chelsea, but I don't think he's a striker. Now he's playing more, again, as an offensive midfield player. He can play in those positions, but he can also play from the side. But what is he a master at? I need Kai Havertz to make that 8 role his own, and then by all means do what you want to do. That means he's a really intelligent player. Technically, he's almost perfect for such a tall player. He can score goals. I mean, of recent, yeah. He is more than only for one position, but I believe where he is playing now is his best position. Long may that continue, really and truly. So yeah, man, we did what we needed to do in the Champions League, and I mean, I don't think this is gonna load, or is it not? But yeah, we top our group with 13 points. PSV finished second. Obviously, Lens will be in the Europa League, and I think we all probably expected Sevilla to at least finish second or third minimum. They're out. But hey, that's their business. Where's Man United's group? Where's Man United's group? Oh, dang. You couldn't get ahead of Copenhagen and Galatasaray. Pick them up because we might face, we might face Copenhagen, but boy, Ten Hag really wasn't joking when he said errors come to an end, man. Hella inside job from that individual. Is there any other Arsenal-related news? Let's have a butchers as well online, people. We've gone over PSV. I think we're all probably exhausted of that. We've gone over that Timber stuff. See what's come out in the last hour. We've gone over Eddie and Nketiah. What's this? Injury update. What's this? Martinelli did not make the trip to Eindhoven after missing... Get off the screen, man. After missing training in the build-up due to a bout of illness. Martinelli will be assessed ahead of the weekend, but it seems unlikely at this stage that he'll miss another game. So he obviously could be back for Brighton. Thomas Partey, we don't know what's going on. There's some social media rumours he could be back for Brighton. But as you know, he has not played at all for Arsenal since the win over City in early October, where he came off the bench, having struggled with a thigh injury sustained in training that later required surgery. Partey was expected to miss the remainder, I feel like I said that wrong, remainder of 2023, though there had been tentative reports that he could look to be involved before Christmas, with a huge trip to Anfield looming on December the 23rd. Arteta pumped the brakes on that speculation last week, insisting that the 30-year-old was making good progress, but reluctant to pinpoint a return date, with that Liverpool game seeming unlikely. We don't know. He's getting a very good evolution in the injury, but it's a bit early to get a time frame. Fair enough. That would be incredibly fast if he's able to do that. So we're going to have to wait. We're quite short with 5 key players out for us not being available for a bit of time, but we have to continue. We all know Tomiyasu's out for a while. He faces the prospect of being out for 4 to 6 weeks. Again, people, he's probably heading off to Qatar in January to play in the Asia Cup. So you hope he can sneak a game or two in before that, but we probably won't see him until mid-February. Again, you won't see Fabio Vieira until the new year. He had surgery on a groin injury. El Nene has now got a new hamstring knock. We're going to have to wait to see the extent of that. You probably imagine on Friday, Saturday, dependent on when Mikel Arteta's press conference is, that will be his opportunity to shed some real light on what's happened with El Nene. We know Timber is progressing well, but we all know Timber is not coming back anytime soon, people. What's this? Arsenal to be offered bonkers swap deal as Juventus plot talks to sign 20-year-old. Are they linked with Charlie Patino again? Juventus are ready to offer Moise Kean in a swap deal to bring in Charlie Patino. I'm not too sure on that. I like Keane, but you can't really help us. Obviously, Charlie's doing quite well at Swansea. Got a new manager now. Scored 2 in 2 recently. Apparently, he's got a contract and that ends in 2025. But it's an extension and not a renewal. We probably need to give him a renewal in line with the progress he's currently making at Swansea and also previously Blackpool, and just to protect his resale value. You'd imagine there'll be a spot for him in Arsenal's midfield at some point, but at this moment there's El Nene, Jorginho, Partey. Reiss has come in, probably need another midfielder or two. And you also know the Kai Havertz's, Smith Rowe's, Fabio Vieira's. These guys can all play in that role. Fair enough. Arsenal in talks to sign Brazilian superstar. Who's this? Please don't be Marcus Leonardo. Can you be someone else? It's Marcus Leonardo again. Boring. So yeah, it doesn't appear that there's anything new Arsenal related, people, if I'm honest there. So we have to see. Keep your keen. Still love the fake news that Toney will be a loan move, yet we can't have another loan from Brentford. Amen. Exactly. Yeah, only got Jorginho and Reiss. Need to bolster in midfield and defense. Crazy. I know what you're saying about mastering a position, but look at Bernardo Silva. I hear you, but Bernardo Silva is very different because as someone that saw him play, you could see my man by all trades is a 10. He's a 10. He's able to play out wide. There's some exceptions to the rule. I hear you, but Kai Havertz is not as crystal clear as that. You can do everything, but what are you? I'm sure if you ask Bernardo Silva, he's at home as an 8 or a 10, probably a 10, but he can perform everywhere. And that's an exception to the rule. Again, if he's not Bernardo Silva, essentially. We've done him in pre-season. Too careful. Man United fans were gassing up pre-season. Champions League is a humbler, but I'm probably looking to face Lazio or Copenhagen. I just say we respect everyone. The draw is going to be exciting. I hear that. I wouldn't mind either Copenhagen, Lazio, Inter, or Porto/Shakhtar. Would be looking to avoid Napoli or Leipzig. I can't lie, I don't want to have an away trip to Napoli, if I'm honest. I back Arsenal against anyone at home. It's the away games in Europe that have scarred me. And can you blame me? We've got a long history of that. If I'm Brentford, I'm not selling Toney on loan for 65 million when I don't think it's a loan for 65 million when I can get big money from him in the summer. As for Partey, I'll wait until he actually practices multiple days before playing. Nelson deserved man of the match yesterday. He and Kai were very good yesterday. Nelson should be playing over Martinelli at the moment. Much better fit. Personally, I'm not going to complain on El Nene or Cedric or even Eddie, since I do not want to moan about players I don't rate. I hear that. I'm so happy Havertz is playing well. I prematurely wrote him off in my head, but was always backing him. I don't think, you know, you're wrong for that. I don't think even the most optimistic guys, you know, again, there's, you know, the United people have said, I told you so, you could see it. You could see some positive signs, but to say you was always convinced by Kai Havertz is a lie. But, you know, you could see him off the ball fitted in. Now he looks a lot more comfortable. Now, obviously, he's popping up with goals, which even that, he didn't do any of that against PSV, but he just looks a lot more confident in everything he's doing. So long may it continue, man. Again, the jury's still out, but in the last 3, 4, maybe even 5 games, nobody's mentioned Kai Havertz's price tag. That was something we couldn't get over. So you keep playing like that, no one cares. Best Arsenal content creator again. I wish I had the engagement and the views to suggest that, but we keep working, man. Several years of trash players doesn't mean you should play for Arsenal. Cedric needs to go. Cedric needs to go tomorrow. But at the end of the day, the club made a stupid mistake bringing him into the club, giving him the contract he's on. And this is what you sign up for, essentially. I'd love to see Partey in the squad next season. Yeah, I'm surprised that Water didn't play at all. It all depends for Charlie, because for me, I would like Reiss. I would like Partey to stay, if I'm honest with you, for another year and just tie us over, but he could go. I would like Reiss. I would like 2 central midfielders. And when I say that, pure centre mids, people that are going to fight Reiss to play midfield or play with him. So people that are going to play behind Odegaard. So Reiss, 2 of those. I guess Charlie could bag a spot, and then I think we could be all right there. I think we need a 6 and an 8. So there could be something for Charlie, but there's only X amount of players that can be on the bench. There's only so much of game time you can get. Hopefully, El Nene's injury is not too long for him, and just hope it's a knock. I hope so as well, but he had to come off. He ain't played football for a while. I thought it was cramp or maybe just a light injury because he ain't been playing for a while. But anytime you hear hamstring, I think everybody's braced to hear a player is out for optimistically 2 weeks or probably just over a month, if I'm completely honest. Bayern Munich and Barca away, painful time. Bro, Olympiacos, Villarreal, Barcelona historically, Bayern Munich, you know, Sporting Lisbon recently, Europa League final against Chelsea. There's been historically, you know, Europe has been filled with pain. The only times I've been somewhat happy playing in Europe or getting to the latter stages as an Arsenal fan is when we got to the Europa League final, because Emre did what his CV says. I think Emre that season let us down in the Premier League. I think the players let him down and themselves and the fans down in the final. I do think Mikel Arteta, on top of me not really thinking you're here for Haaland like that, I think you kind of mess about in Europe. You know, I'm still a bit scarred from your decision to play Emil Smith-Rowe false 9. I feel more so when we dropped into the Europa League, it's been the second legs that have killed us. But when you watch the games again, it's the home leg. Like, you go back to the Sporting game where they beat us on penalties. Martinelli missed. They scored from the halfway line. It was collapse for us. We didn't kill that in the first leg. Olympiacos the same. Like, and then obviously Wenger underachieved in Europe. It kills me to say that about him. Arteta, the jury's still out. Arsenal is too big of a football club to have this weak European history that we have. Like, the fact that we ain't got a Europa or a Champions League and them things there, it's a mockery, really and truly. We flirted with it. We've been the bridesmaid, but we ain't been the groom or whatever it is. But yeah, Bayern, Barca, you don't really want to play them. I want revenge on Barcelona. It would be lovely to beat Barcelona and for VAR to somehow be on our side, man. Because, you know, I think if you support Chelsea, Arsenal, probably even Man United and so on and so forth, Barcelona, the biggest cheats I've seen in UEFA competition over the years. I think we're getting Napoli or Atletico. It's written in the script. It's written in the script. For me, of course, I would love to win this competition. But like Edu said, I think we've just got to enjoy it. It all depends who you get in the last 16. My thing was just get out the group and I'll take it from there. I'd love to go to the final. I'd love to win it. I'd love to get to the semis. I think we need to be aspiring for the quarters. And right now, we just need to look at the last 16, whoever we're facing. Let's just have the mentality, even though we can't get Real Madrid, that we're playing a prime Real Madrid side. There's no easy games in the champs. Now, I know Whether, you know, one thing I'll give Arteta, I don't think he's got any complacency, but the players got to get with it. He'd be decent. I thought Arsenal, we should have won a Europa League by now. Amen. And plus, look at the last scummy times Chelsea have won the Champions League. Why can't we do it on that thing, man? Especially when they won it under Avran Grant. The dodgiest Champions League final I've ever seen. Big them up, though. I thought about it last night, and I think we need to offload the following players to move up a level. Tavares, Pepe, Onene, Jorginho, Partey, Cedric, and Onene, possibly Toney for a decent price. I hear you, but I think you're being a bit hard. Well, Pepe's gone anyways, but I think you're being a bit harsh throwing Jorginho and Partey and Eddie in with them lot, if I'm honest. Eddie is a thing where I agree with you. We need to upgrade on that. But I think Cedric's past his sell by date. El Nene, cool guy, need to be moved on. Jorginho, I also believe that, but I also like his experience in and around the side. But that we do this thing at Arsenal, players that are good to have in and around the side, they can do a job for us 5, maybe 10 games or play a bit part role. We put them into boots they can't fill. We take guys that should be squad players and try and rely on them on a regular basis. We've done that in the last 2 years. There was times going back to when we missed out on fourth, Tavares, Holding, these guys came in and done all right. But when it gets to crunch time and we need to get results, Graham, I think you're bang on the money. When the romance of football is removed and it's ugly, we rely on guys that are not built for this. El Nene needs to cut. Jorginho is a marginalised role or cut. Partey, it's just really because of the injuries. And I think the club like you, but they just see it as a chance to shed your wages off the wage bill come summer. Tavares, you need to cut. You know, there's probably a couple of other players really and truly we're missing out. But yeah, but half of them, like a couple of them names, like Cedric ain't flooded with offers. And if he was, they weren't attractive enough to let him leave Arsenal. El Nene's not going to get a better gig. Jorginho's probably gearing up to maybe go back to Brazil or Italy at some point. But I reckon if Partey goes, I don't think they will let Partey, El Nene and Jorginho all leave. I think one of them will stay just because of experience and stuff like that. Don't get it twisted. We need a new look midfield. You know, midfield's got way too many question marks in my opinion. And there isn't any longevity. Whatever you say about the defensive options, in theory, Raya's 27. Ramsdale's a couple of years younger than him. Zinni's of a good age. Timber, Tomiyasu, Saliba, Kirio, Gabriel, Benjamin White. I might have even missed out one. They're of a good age. Up front, whatever you say about them, but the Martinellis, excluding Trossard, which he's here for the present, but, you know, the Sakas, the Martinellis, the Smith Rowes, and so on and so forth. Where you look in midfield, Declan Rice is the only one that there's confirmation. The only questions you have over Declan Rice is good questions. How good can you be? Can we get a partner from you? Can you get 10 goals? Can you be our next John Stones? The next John Stones? Can you become this 8? Can you keep doing what you're doing? Can you keep this consistency? With Partey, we're never confident he's gonna last the duration of a season. To be fair, last season he made 40 appearances. Jorginho, you're not the guy beyond a couple of games. El Nene needs to cut. Tavares needs to cut. Big up Micah for not forgetting Sambi Lokonga, who I believe is fit now and is back actually in the Luton squad, needs to cut. Man said, get George Graham for the European campaign. He knew how to grind out a European triumph. Why not, man? Oh, let's just start cheating, man. You can't beat them, join them. Just start paying off refs and doing what we need to do. Sometimes you got to do dirty things in life to live clean, man. Do we feel we need some experienced players? Do feel we need some experienced players, but we'll see. I do think Jorginho will Partey seasons for one more season. I think you mean stay for one more season. But I'd like a little street smart midfielder. You live or die in midfield. There you have it. Ultimately, football is decided in the defensive third and the final third, but midfield is your bread and butter. That's the fight, and I don't think this can continue. DG, something is telling me we're doing the double this season. Hey, listen, I hope so. Easier said than done. Listen, I hope so. I really do hope so. Are you talking about trophies, or are you talking about doing the double over by United and winning again in the Premier League at Old Trafford? I don't know, man. I would love it. I would love it, man. I'd love to win a trophy. If we do get to the final, God willing, would you do a match day vlog like you did on match day 5? I think we need to get a ticket for the Champions League final. I don't think I'd have a snowball's chance, but if in theory I did, then why not, man? DJ, I know you won't like this, but Smith Rowe part of the selling list for me, bro. Vieira there too. Allow him, man. Do you know what? I'm Smith Rowe to the end. It's Smith Rowe FC to the end. I rebuke all of them spirits, man. I pray to God he stays fit, but on a more serious thing, yeah, he is. I don't think he's in the same realm as Lokonga, Cedric, you know, bargain bucket, you know, car boot sale kind of players. I think he's near the Parteys and like them kind of players, and that, you know, certain offers might be good to move you on. Fabio Vieira, I think I'll persist with you for one more season just because you know, you can maneuver in the squad. You're an okay squad player. I do think it's now time to, you know, in August, there was a couple bits where you looking like, yeah, you know what, you're, in fact, the last 2 seasons, Fabio Vieira has been on the peripheral of things, but every now and again, his form looks like it's out of this world, and it looks like he's here to stake a claim. And he did look like he was doing that this season. Obviously, he's now injured. He didn't take his chances in the North London derby, but, you know, at the end of the day, Fabio Vieira, you know, you can, Arteta's played you out wide, which is not you, but you're kind of triple pissed, pardon my language, in the sense of, if you were to play as a wide playmaker, Saka's playing right wing, you're not playing ahead of him. Odegaard's the captain, you're not playing ahead of him unless you're playing out of this world. The 8 row, you just signed Kai Havertz for 65 million. Had Partey have been fit, I do think Havertz, Reiss, and Odegaard is the trio Arteta wants to see, but you make a case of that. So Fabio's going to have to pattern up. He's going to need to eat some food as well, man. Jorginho, I would let him go, but I don't mind him staying either as the new El Nene. We do need to revamp the midfield. Smith Rowe's passing was world class yesterday, and people want to sell him well. I ain't gonna lie, he was on the field 2 minutes and there weren't really anything of significance. But Tuesday, Smith Rowe, run the agendas, and check out the video I did earlier today. I was sure to run the Smith Rowe agenda, folks. Even with that, let me get a link. If it's for something, you know, I'm always looking after you lot. Make sure you lot take that in after this stream. And don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't. I can't imagine none of you lot aren't subscribed, but yeah. DG, what makes a player world class? I don't know. Everyone's got different realms of it, innit? Like, for me, I think that word is banged around too much. I would say, I kind of look at it in a twofold. You got them historical world class players, and you got in today's market. Really, like, for me, you've got to be one of the best in your position, arguably top 5. For me personally, I do want to kind of see it for a duration of time. I do want to see it at different levels. So it all depends, man, really. I don't think Arsenal have any world-class players in our team, you know, because for me, I know Messi and Ronaldo's dead, but for me, if you're not, it's a dead example, but if you're not exactly Messi and Ronaldo, of course, but if you're not Messi, Ronaldo, R9, these kind of, like, doing what these kind of guys do in your own way, then I don't think you're world-class. I think the term is banged around. But if there was anyone in the squad that would be world-class, I think Reiss, I think Saka, and I think William Saliba. But it all depends, man. Nelson and Smith can stay. Eddie, Tavares, Cedric, El Nene got to go. But even that, well, Cedric's contract is running down, so he's gone. El Nene, I don't know if we're going to do the charity FC thing again and give him a new deal. Nketiah, obviously, I think he's developed. I still don't think he's mustard and he's the answer, but I do think he's developed, and I think he's shown that he can play Premier League football. But it all depends, really. You know, I don't know what the man's getting, and I don't like to talk about people's finances because I think people always look at Eddie Nketiah's contract like someone put a gun to their head. But, you know, is Eddie Nketiah going to earn them wages elsewhere? And as much as I like Eddie, I don't know if you were to, pardon me, I don't know how you would say it, but let's look beyond the top 10 in the Premier League and, like, from 10th to bottom. How many of those clubs does he start at and be a main player? Now, they can still buy him, but how many? Well, to be fair, let's be shameless and throw Chelsea in there. You can play up front for them. So that's where the issue comes. And also for Eddie Nketiah, the manager likes you. You're comfy at Arsenal. You've grown up with a couple of these players. We're in the Champions League and whatnot. Whether you get another England cap is another thing, but you've been called up into the England squad. You know, obviously he's from South London, so he's in London. So family point of view, you're quite comfortable. Is he going to force the boat out, really? And you know, to a degree, again, if Arsenal sign a striker, things change. But you have shown at times that you can deputize for Gabriel Jesus or even keep him out the side. And you've got the manager's faith. In any other walk of life, if this was the same things and you know, obviously flip it about in any other job, would somebody be gearing or being a push to leave their job? I don't know. Because I could make a case for Eddie as much as what I've just said. If you went somewhere where you could play 10, 20, 38 Premier League games, Nelson as well, where would you be? And Nketiah is staying the way Arteta gives him chances and not Reiss is telling. He even put Jesus as a winger before putting Reiss there, and he's getting small minutes. He don't really trust him like that or rate him. I think he likes Reiss. I think Reiss was given a new deal because of, you know, he got a bit of a cult hero thing, but and we like him, and obviously Arteta likes him. But I think it was a thing where we thought to ourselves, you know what, let's give him a new deal, protect some resale value, don't let him walk out the door for free, which isn't necessarily wrong. And also, you know, I don't think we thought we was going to get Pedro Neto or any of these wingers. So we thought, you know what, we'll keep a body in case something happens. Big up yourself, North. But I think you're bang on the money. Personally, world class is based on trophies and being there consistently at a high level. But look at Ronaldo and R9, be consistent, and we'll talk. To be fair, I agree with you on the trophies, but I also shoot down my own logic because it's a collective game, innit, really? Like, I hear you, you've got to be able to make the difference and win trophies, but, you know, you can't do it alone. Like, there's 10 other players, really. If it was boxing or some singular sport, which when you break sport down, I don't think any sport is a solo sport, because even if you're a tennis player, you've got a tennis coach. Boxing done has a nutritionist, boxing coach, etc. You know, Formula One, you actually have to be extremely fit to be Formula One done, let alone all them people. I don't know what you call it, but when you watch on TV when they're doing the Formula One stuff, the radio stuff, yeah, so I don't know. I think it's a bit harsh to just look at trophies, but I do the trophies thing when I'm saying a player is world class and it aids the agenda. Like, even for me with Saliba, it's just a case of just keep doing what you're doing. And I'd also say for me, I more want to see you do what you're doing for Arsenal, for France, because the dynamics are different. For example, you even playing left-sided centre-back. Saka, just keep doing what you're doing as well. Reiss, keep doing what you're doing as well. I actually think Reiss, out of all of them, is the closest to being world-class because he's been doing it for a long time. I mean, West Ham fans, to be honest, every football fan owes West Ham fans an apologies because we gaslit them. They were talking about Declan Rice, saying all of this. We was looking at them like they're mad. But I just think Declan Rice has done it longer than Saliba and Saka. Obviously, he's a household name and things like that. Saka's top 5 in his position, as is Saliba. But yeah, I don't believe anyone's necessarily world class. But if I had to say anyone, would be, it'd be them 3, man. I feel comfortable with Ramsdale in goal and Raya. DG, do you think Arteta is being fair to Ramsdale? What in life, what is fair? In football, what is fair? You know, is it that, do I feel sorry that Ramsdale just about got to play in the Champions League and, you know, sign a new deal, helping us qualify, etc., etc.? Of course, I feel it's a bit unfair. But if Raya is genuinely an upgrade, then are we Arsenal Football Club or Ramsdale FC? Are we trying to be a family or are we trying to win? We're not here to make friends. At the same time, though, the issue now comes is we haven't seen anything close to this Brentford Raya, in my opinion. And anytime, I don't think he did anything wrong against Villa, but anytime when Raya first come in, we was winning games and he weren't like Everton. He didn't have to do nothing. When Raya's had to be called into action, whether it's been Luton, whether it's been Manchester City, been Spurs, Lens away where he made a mistake, there might even be another one. I've looked at him and thought, oh, there's an issue there, man. But I think they're in the same bracket. I think Ramsdale is like he's got ants in his pants, ADHD, and it doesn't calm me down. I think Ramsdale's at his best when he's constantly being worked. I think Raya is too laid back, and I think they're in the same bracket. I think they've both got the same concerns. I think the only reason Raya is still in the team, beyond the obvious of Mikel Arteta signing him and liking him and all of that jazz, is his kicking is much better than Ramsdale's, or not even to diss Ramsdale. Like, Raya is a Spanish goalie. He's come up off of all of that, really, playing futsal and all of those things. We all know in England, keepers, only of probably the last 5 or so years are people taking in, you know, look when Pep Guardiola, obviously Claudio Bravo was crap, but when they drew out Joe Hart and Claudio Bravo was good with his feet, but terrible at everything else. It's only in the recent now that the culture has kind of shifted towards goal or how we look at goalies in this country, really. And to be fair, it's good talent ID. I don't know if Ramsdale clearly had this in his locker. I don't think he would get to display that at Sheffield United, but clearly we identified he could. I just think it's a thing. Raya was his first choice. That was his first love. He's done him dirty. But I think in Arteta's mind, that's Raya's number 1 spot. Because if Ramsdale did what Raya did against Luton, he's getting dropped. But it is what it is. I think the only reason he's in the team is that, really and truly. Disagree, DG. Raya has kept us in some games. He was so good against Spurs. And that's Bob. I appreciate differences of opinions. No one's right, no one's wrong. I think the whole team let themselves down defensively. And I think he was quite shaky against Spurs. I don't think he was terrible, but I think he was shaky against Spurs. You know, him, Saka, Benjamin White, Saliba, Gabriel, they all switched off for whatever goal Maddison set up for Son. And I just feel anytime I've seen Raya called into action, I'm not convinced. I'm not dissing him. Of course, I don't really care about Ramsdale. All right, I want the best goalie for the club. I think in Arteta's mind, as I was saying, that, you know, Raya's the number 1, that's it. But for me as a fan, I think Ramsdale can wrestle his spot back, but you ain't got long. You ain't got long because I don't imagine both of you going to be here. Facts, I think that's fair as long as you're consistent and be able to do it at a high level. But yeah, West Ham deserve 200 million for Rice. They do, man. They fully do. Arteta must be salesman of the year, the way he convinced Reiss to sign a contract. He's a gallus, man. The way Arteta can gash you. But then again, these players are idiots, man. Like, really and truly. Like, as a manager, I always say managers have to be liars. I'm gonna tell every young player, bro, sign scholarship, sign pro deal. You're gonna play, bro. I promise you. I'm gonna tell any player I'm gonna sign deals. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. You're gonna have to, and you can't keep everyone happy. If life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. If football was fair, you know, and I'm not trying, like, if football was fair and the minutes were shared out between Ramsdale and Raya, and Timber got this game and Partey this and Nelson that and all these things, would we be, not that we've won anything, but would we necessarily be where we're at? Like, if the minutes statistically were shared out freely between every player we deserve, that we believe deserves to play, would we have the same results? Football isn't fair. Life isn't fair. Unfortunately, it's not. It's peak. You're going to get some. Yeah, man, 100%. To be fair, even at Brentford, he had mistakes. I'm not asking Raya to be faultless. I'm not asking no one to not make mistakes. Anyone who doesn't make mistakes isn't living real life. I always say it. Mistakes happen. Balls get lost in the transition. You know, even the lens mistake. I'm more angry at Raya against Luton than I am at, you know, playing out from the back and making that mistake away in the Champions League. Because them things happen. It happens. I just look at my goalies, and I think we got two good goalies, but one don't look like the one at Brentford to me. Ramsdale, you're all right. You have a lot of faults, but I like you. And I don't think it's healthy. Obviously, yesterday and probably Villa was the first times these guys have played or not played, and it's not the talking points. We all know if Raya's in goal or Ramsdale's in goal, the camera is going to pan to the opposite, to the keeper who's on the bench. You know, if Ramsdale smiles, he's not serious. If he doesn't smile, he's not happy for his teammates. His dad's out here making comments. You know, in the last few years, for last few years, exaggeration, but the last 2 years, this year and last year, it's been nice that we've been able to talk about Arsenal for what we're doing or not doing on the football pitch, and maybe talk about transfers. There hasn't really been soap dramas or operas and things like that, or opera stuff. But David Raya and Ramsdale was a bit of a soap drama that needs to be finished, really. And I'm not asking, man, not to make mistakes, especially because I just feel generally in today's day and age, footballers, it sounds dumb, and I probably don't even agree with this, but I don't think footballers' level of concentration is as high, really. And naturally, you know, obviously, a goalie who is not asked to play with his feet is not really going to make that many mistakes as much as someone that's going to play. I do like Raya's distribution. I do like his starting positioning. Big up Ghost. Like he said, when I did a match day vlog, it was nice seeing Raya. Like, obviously, I can't make it make sense, but I'm sitting in the boxes, right? And obviously, at one half, Raya is in front of me, pause. So, like, I'm watching our team attack this way, like, attack towards the camera. So I can see the positions Raya is taking up, and I do like it. It's a bit like a centre half. It's lit, really and truly. I don't think we're gonna see Partey back too soon, Martins, man. Do think players get way too coached now? They 100%, and individuality is still in the game, but it's gone. It's all about systems. Before, it used to be the players would enhance the systems. Now I think systems can kind of hide players' frailties. Football is about systems and high turnovers and being athletic. It's not really about natural ability and guile, and, like, really and truly, people, like, how many footballers, yeah, obviously big up all the Arsenal ones, but truthfully, in your heart, yeah, whether you're young or old, whether you started watching football with your nan, your dad, your uncle, you got into football because of your friends, you just happened to walk down the street one day and fell in love with football, you know, all the footballers that you've ever held in high regards, either at Arsenal or in general, in today's day and age, how many footballers genuinely can you say you enjoy watching? Like, and for the Arsenal fans out there, let's exclude Arsenal because it makes it a lot more difficult. Yeah, some of you are thinking Reiss, Saka, and all of them. No, not at that thing, mate. How many footballers do you say you enjoy watching? Honest to God, enjoy. Me, I'm scratching my head. I like to watch Mbappe. I like to watch Dembele of PSG when he's on song. Who else is there? Pedri, I think, is a baller. Bellingham, baller. Musiala, when I get to watch him, baller. Neymar, obviously, he's gone Saudi. Man, I'm not watching Saudi League like that. But for all his faults, Neymar was lit. Like, a couple years ago, Eden Hazard, for all his faults. Vinicius Jr., another one. And obviously, there's more. But how many? Really and truly, how many? Like, football's not enjoyable like that again, if I'm honest. And I don't want to sound like them going back in my day and all of that jazz, but yeah, big up American Gooner. I hope you're doing better, man. The only way Nelson gets into the starting lineup is by getting face surgery to look like Saka. Would love a new Alisson regen at Arsenal. I'm not going to lie, big fan of Raya. Love Ramsdale. Don't want him to leave. But if that next Alisson, that transformative figure, that one that is clearly better than them, I know we've committed 30 million for Raya. I know we need to address striker out wide, centre mid, centre half, maybe fullback. I know we're treading close to FFP. But if there's a way to do it, boy, no romance, get it done, innit? Because that makes our system better. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like, what, like, Maddison, I like Maddison, but like, enjoyable. I'll put him in the step below them. Like, he's there, he's lit to watch. I like him, and obviously got to push a bit of a Spurs agenda, but enjoyable. I don't get excited about watching Maddison play. In fact, I'm being harsh, throw Maddison into that. But even then, it's not widespread. Even that, how many good strikers are out there? Like, Premier League used to be littered with good strikers, whether they were prolific or not, at all levels. Midfield was non-existent in yesterday's game. We played with our food, was slow in passing and transitions. I can't lie. I think Havertz was a bit crippled because I said it in the watch along, but I think Havertz was making a lot of forward runs, and obviously there's no, like, for him, he's being told to do that and he's doing that, but Jorginho and El Nene not bringing nothing to the table. I like Valverde, but I wouldn't say Valverde is enjoyable for. It's just because he's on S-Housery and he's a good footballer. I wouldn't say it's because I enjoy watching you. But yeah, KK, even he's looking a bit fruity. Messi, I couldn't tell you the last time I watched Messi play a full 90 highlights thing. Yeah, 100%. Neymar the same. I ain't seeing these guys play. Which player would you like Arsenal to sign to strengthen the midfield? It's difficult, man, because January, the guys I want, it's a myth. But Zubamendi be a top target for me. I watched the Champions League highlights. I'm sure whoever Sociedad played, he got man of the match. Bring him. Arteta, gas him. You're from that, you're not only Spanish, but you're from that region of Spain. You can chat to him, Homano settings, get it done. Put the framework, sell him the dream. You, Declan Rice, Odegaard, it could be Wavy. We're in the Champions League. Raya, call him, WhatsApp him, Bellerin, even though you're not at the club, go and do your due diligence. Once a Gooner, always a Gooner. Get it done, man. Can't lie, I like watching Kane. Yeah, Kane's good. I wouldn't say he's in the bracket, but he's not there like, wow, I'm wowed. Like, we're never going to see this again. But him, Lukaku. Oh, he saved it. Yeah, not for his ability, just for his antics. Apart from that, like, Modric. But Modric's done soon. Like, Modric, another 100%. But out of how many, I don't even know. Like, if we went through how many players are in every club in the Premier League, in all top 5 European leagues and whatnot, I'm probably chatting, but let's just say 100 or 1,000 or whatever. For all them active players in today's day and age, to players we actually enjoy watching, the game's gone, man. It's all about systems now. And I'm not saying the game's not enjoyable. Paul Pogba, up until obviously he really stopped playing. Can Jesus be in the 3 current top Premier League strikers? I don't know. It depends on form. That's a good question. I can't answer. I'm going to be shameless and say, yeah, because it's Gabby Jesus, man. But yeah, man, there isn't too many enjoyable footballers. Striker pool, like centre-backs in this era, are dying breed. Exactly. Really. And I think defending's only going to get worse because not only has the game changed with having to play out from the back and all of that jazz, and we just spoke about concentration levels, you can't defend. If you're dribbling past me and I'm a defender and you've knocked the ball past me and I'm trying to obviously gain ground and you bang the ball out of my hand, it's now handball in today's day and age. Like, you can't defend unless you can, players are going to have to defend like that, like you see at times, or you're going to just need players to be born without arms or detachable ones. Been talking Zubamendi for almost 2 years. Clearly the club don't rate him. Probably, or he's not internally liked, really. Probably not, but that could be our loss, man. How many players have been there for a while? Nobody's taken a chance on them. And then we've looked at them and thought, what's going on over there? Grealish for the parties. I like watching Grealish play. But even that, I think Grealish is in the wrong era, if I'm honest with you. We're in a day and age where, you could be crap in a game of football, but you score 1 goal, everyone's going online and saying, oh, yeah, Sofa score said he got a 9.7 rating and this and that. Sometimes you can play good and not score assists. Where I think, and I also think fans are the reason, because I feel like a lot of football fans don't watch football. They watch it via the lenses of agendas. They watch it based on highlights, or they watch it to come with nonsense. Or the TV might be on, but they're not watching it. Because many people watch the game. If you really want to see what a game of football is like, Don't watch the ball. Watch what everybody's doing without it. That's why I always say I like to watch Arsenal games twice. Crazy, man. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. The game's crazy, but we love it anyways. Football, like any other industry, has reached the end of its talent cycle. Again, yeah, man. And it will just, like we've seen it before, these things just go around in circles, you know. I'm 28, you know, but all you need to do is pick up a history book and you see that three at the back and all of these things were being played. There was a point in the Premier League in the last 5 years, exaggeration, but you get the point, 5 to 10 years, everyone was, oh, centre backs, three at the back, bro. It just goes around and around like that. So we will get back there, man. Ball to hand only calls those handballs against Arsenal. I hear it. Even the Saliba one, like, bro, the Saliba one against Chelsea, Højlund's one against City. There's been crazy shit. We've been Livramento in the dying embers of the game against in the dying embers of who did they play? PSG the other week. But there's no point defending nowadays. Like, they don't want to see that. And then obviously football's going to get crazy. Listen, big up fans that are in every country. I don't really care. I think football is for everybody, in it, whether you're in Asia, Africa, Caribbean, and the Americas, you get all the continents in it. But we're going to get into a world where the North London derby is going to be played in Australia. And just mad things are going on like that. Like, Super League is coming, you know. The Super League is already happening with the way they're changing this Champions League format, if I'm honest. Like, is this, and you can see players are treated like guinea pigs as well. Like, if you're a top level footballer, you're probably playing 70 games a year, essentially. Look at the last 2 years, back-to-back European, back-to-back international tournaments. There was a lot of football played at club level last season, and you had the World Cup. Then you had to get on with it. Now you got a Euros. Then you got this Nations League stuff. Before you know it, there's World Cup qualifiers and whatnot. Hey, football's crazy. It's mad, man. Large up, DG. Random question. How do you spend your Christmas day? Big up yourself, South London's finest. Thanking the Lord I'm alive. Spending it with family. Drinking Guinness Punch, Sorrel, Ray and Neff, Hennessy. I don't even like Guinness. Well, I like Guinness Punch, but I might show off and just do the Guinness thing. Couple shots. Stuff gets put in the air, allegedly. And I think even the last couple Christmases, I might have even dropped videos in that. So, yeah, man. I ain't got a exciting Christmas like that, man. Looking more forward to New Year's still, if I'm honest. Do you think automated refereeing systems would improve football overall? I guess in theory, but like, how is it going to be implemented, though? Because as we know, the way these lot implement things is brazy. We've gone from Ronaldinho to Grealish at City. I don't know what Grealish did to deserve that stray, my boy, but I hear it, man. We need a Santi Cazorla regen. I don't know what that is. Smoking weed, what is that? I've never heard of that. Never done that before. I don't know what that is, man. I'm straight edge lifestyle. Don't drink, don't smoke. Just make YouTube vids, man. Allow me. Brands, if you're trying to get me to work with you, allow me. I'm straight edge. But yeah, we need a Santi regen. We need a Patrick Vieira regen. I'd love a Cesc Fabregas. I love the Van Persie of the last 2-3 years, including when he left, when he joined Man United. Bro, and Adebayor wouldn't even like, bro, and Adebayor, like, I don't know what's going on with scouting strikers, but even like, must be able to find a forward, man. We didn't always buy household names. I know scouting is harder in today's day and age, but yeah, do Arsenal have a problem at left back? Yes, because Zinchenko's got evident frailties, and you know, Tomiyasu, Timber are injured. Kyrill's not convinced in the last 2 games. So yeah, man, a lot of unanswered questions. Big up Dino. I don't know what that is, Ben, man. Don't understand some of the scout at Arsenal. Zubimendi should be here already. There's a lot of variables, though. Not exalting the club, but the player might not want to move. We might have other priorities. The player might be, you know, wanting to stay at Sociedad. A couple of people might like him at Arsenal. A couple of people might have concerns. Obviously, I don't know what analytics they judge it on, but there could be some concerns. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of reasons, but I mean, you just got to watch Zubimendi. He's a baller. I sold him in Football Manager because he can't behave himself. But yeah, nonetheless, he's cut now. 5 more likes and we've hit 100 people. But yeah, on that note, though, I'm going to go and do some other bits and pieces of content creation before I obviously join you lot at 4:30 to play Football Manager. I don't know if we'll do a watch along for the Champions League today. I don't know if you lot even want that, but if there's time, I will. Either way, you know, on Saturday, Sunday, better yet, we're going to watch Brighton, Arsenal together, and we're definitely going to watch Liverpool, Man United as well. I think next week, obviously, Champions League is done after this week for part of the season. I think you've got cup action. Obviously, Arsenal aren't in it, but we'll definitely listen. The content keeps ticking over. Make sure you've got your notification bells on, people. I'm trying to get some collabs. Big up to Troops, because I've done a video with Troops. I just need to stop being lazy and cut up some of the clips and make a thumbnail and upload it for you lot, people. But I did that yesterday. You'll get that before the weekend. So yeah, man, appreciative of you lot being here. Your banter, your talking points, your questions, your differences of opinions, etc., etc. As we approach the end of 2023, your support is, I can't put into words what your support means, innit? So let's just keep it going, people. The journey to 70k subs and beyond is ticking. Big up the Twitch gang as well. Hit the like button if you haven't. Safe, man.
Against this right back, Charlie.
Because you always used to act when defending. I think it's like.
Tongue